Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. The way you end your day can determine the kind of peace you'll wake up with. We've all had those nights where we toss and turn, the weight of the world on our minds. But what if I told you that the key to unlocking a better tomorrow lies in the way you close your day? At the end of the day, before you close your eyes, take a moment to pause and reflect. We live in a fast-pacing world where the demands on our time and energy are constant, and it's easy to get swept away in the noise. But we must make space for reflection, a time to step back from everything that's been happening around us. This space isn't just for thinking about the things you've accomplished or the obstacles you faced. It's about creating a mental and emotional pause, a sacred moment where you can assess where you've been and where you're going. Reflection allows you to examine the events of the day and how they've impacted you. Were there moments when you felt challenged, when frustration crept in, or when you lost your way? It's important to acknowledge those moments, but not to let them consume you. Reflection isn't about dwelling on what went wrong. It's about recognizing those moments as opportunities to learn, to grow, and to deepen your understanding of yourself and the world around you. It's in this process that you begin to align your actions with your values, recalibrating your path if needed. On the flip side, reflection is also an opportunity to celebrate the wins, the small victories that often go unnoticed in the hustle of daily life. Maybe you helped someone out, or maybe you made it through a difficult situation stronger than you were before. When you take time to recognize these moments of grace, it strengthens your faith, renews your spirit, and prepares you for the next day. It reminds you that even in the midst of trials, God is at work. And he's using every experience to shape you into the person you're meant to be. But reflection is more than just an inventory of the day's events. It's a time to check in with your heart and mind. How are you feeling? What emotions are you carrying into the evening? Are there thoughts you need to release before you can truly rest? In this moment of stillness, you have the chance to clear your mind of the clutter and bring your focus back to what truly matters. You're allowing yourself to be present with yourself and with God. I have many times taken a free consultation class to ask on areas that are important to me, things like my patience, my relationships, my style, and the physicality of the body. When you do this, you invite clarity into your life, and that clarity brings peace. Reflection is an act of intentionality. It's about choosing to pause and breathe before you dive into the next phase of your day. And as you do, you invite God to be part of that reflection, to help you see things with his perspective. It's in that partnership that true growth happens, when you open your heart to God's guidance and let his wisdom direct your thoughts. Prayer is often seen as something that's one-sided, a list of requests and concerns sent up to God in hopes that they will be answered. But prayer at its core is not a monologue. It's a conversation, a two-way exchange that goes beyond asking for things. It's about opening up your heart and engaging with the divine in a dialogue that can bring you closer to understanding your purpose and your path. It's important to remember that when you pray, it's not just about what you say, it's about what you hear, how you listen, and how you make room for God to speak into your life. When you sit down to pray, it's natural to start by talking to God, telling him what's on your mind and heart. That's the beauty of prayer. It's a safe space where you can be honest, raw, and vulnerable. You can express your fears, your doubts, your hopes, and your gratitude. You can lay your burdens down and ask for strength, guidance, or comfort. But prayer isn't just about unloading your emotions or making requests. If it were, it would be more like a wish list, not a conversation. True prayer invites God into your life in a personal and intimate way, and that means allowing space for him to speak to you, too. Too often we forget that the conversation is meant to be a two-way street. We fill up the time with our words, but we don't always take the time to listen. Listening to God is just as important as talking to him. When you quiet your mind and open your heart, you make room for the voice of God to speak. It might come as a whisper, a feeling, or a sense of peace that overcomes you. It might be in the stillness of your soul or through the words of Scripture. But it's in that moment of listening, when you let go of all the noise and expectations, that you can hear God's guidance most clearly. Sometimes the answers don't come immediately, and that's okay. Prayer isn't about demanding results or a quick fix. It's about building a relationship with God, trusting that He knows what's best for you and giving Him the time to shape you. Prayer, like any relationship, takes time, patience, and openness. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do in prayer is sit in silence and wait. Wait for the Holy Spirit to fill you with wisdom, to lead you, to comfort you. Prayer as a conversation requires vulnerability, honesty, and a willingness to receive as much as we ask for. It means surrendering control, acknowledging that God's ways are higher than ours, and trusting that His timing is perfect. Prayer isn't about changing God's mind. It's about allowing God to change yours. When you approach prayer as a conversation, you begin to see it as a sacred exchange, an ongoing dialogue that strengthens your relationship with God and transforms your heart. So next time you pray, remember that you're not just talking to God, you're engaging with Him. You're inviting Him into your life, your thoughts, your challenges, and your joys. And you're making space for His voice to enter your heart, bringing clarity, peace, and the assurance that He is with you every step of the way. More is a conversation that never ends, a dialogue that continues long after the words are spoken, a relationship that continues to grow deeper with each moment you spend in His presence. Meditation is often misunderstood, especially when it comes to integrating it with our spiritual lives. In a world that moves faster by the day, where distractions are endless and the noise of life is overwhelming, we often forget how important it is to find moments of stillness. Meditation, especially when practiced alongside prayer, is a powerful tool that allows you to quiet your mind and open your heart to God. It's not about emptying your mind entirely or forcing yourself into a state of complete silence. It's about creating space, a sacred pause, where you can reconnect with your inner self and with God in a deep, intimate way. The process of meditation begins by simply slowing down. It's so easy to rush through our days, checking off tasks, responding to messages, and handling the demands of work and family. But when we take the time to meditate, we give ourselves the permission to step back from all of that. We close our eyes, breathe deeply, and allow ourselves to be present in the moment. We stop for just a moment to recognize that we don't have to be on all the time. In that stillness, we can quiet the mind that is constantly racing, the mind that often holds on to worry, stress, and fear. So, as you begin to meditate, your thoughts will likely try to pull you back into the chaos. You might think about your to-do list, the challenges of the day, or the worries of tomorrow. But part of the power of meditation is in recognizing these thoughts and gently letting them go. Meditation teaches us that we don't have to hold on to every thought, every worry. We can let them pass by like clouds in the sky. When you do this, you begin to create mental space. This space allows you to open your heart more fully to the presence of God. Meditation isn't just about finding peace. It's about becoming aware of the peace that is already available to us. When we quiet our minds, we stop fighting the internal chaos and allow ourselves to be still, to hear the whisper of God in the silence. It's in these quiet moments that we can feel the gentle tug of His presence pulling us closer. We stop looking outward and begin looking inward, allowing God to speak to us in ways that words often can't express. In the stillness, our hearts become more receptive to His love and guidance. Opening your heart through meditation also means being vulnerable. When you clear the distractions and let go of the clutter, you allow yourself to be fully present with God. You let down the walls you've built, the fears and doubts you've carried, and allow God to fill that space with His peace. In those moments of vulnerability, you begin to experience a deeper connection to His love, a love that transcends all understanding. All that ground is pure. You begin to recognize that you are never alone. You are always held in his care. Even when the world around you is chaotic. The beauty of meditation is that it doesn't have to be long or complicated. You don't need to sit in a lotus position for hours or adopt a rigid practice. It's about intentionality, taking even a few minutes to breathe, to pause, to reset. It's about giving God that quiet time, that time when you lay down everything and simply invite his presence to fill you. It's in these moments of stillness where we find clarity, calm, and spiritual renewal. When you meditate, you don't just quiet your mind, you open your heart to God's presence in a way that transforms your entire being. It allows you to align your thoughts with his will, to hear his voice clearly, and to feel his peace deeply. Meditation isn't about getting away from the world, it's about becoming more fully present in it. With God's strength guiding you every step of the way, it's a practice that helps you reset, recharge, and refresh your spirit. And when you cultivate this stillness within, you are better able to face the challenges of life with a heart full of faith and a mind at peace. Gratitude is more than just saying thank you or expressing appreciation for the good things in your life. It is a powerful mindset that can transform the way you view the world, your circumstances, and yourself. In a world that often emphasizes what we lack or what we're striving to achieve, gratitude shifts our focus. It helps us see the blessings, big and small, that already exist around us. It teaches us to find contentment not in what we don't have, but in what we do. And when we choose to focus on gratitude, it becomes the key to unlocking a peace that can weather any storm. When you end your day with gratitude, you change the narrative. The weight of your challenges, the stresses of the day, and the frustrations you've carried with you lose their power over you. Instead of letting the difficulties of life define you, gratitude allows you to look at them from a different perspective. You begin to see that every trial, every setback, every struggle has something to teach you. And it's through this shift in perspective that peace begins to grow in your heart. Gratitude doesn't erase the hard times, but it helps you carry them with a sense of purpose and understanding. It reminds you that even in the toughest of moments, there is something to be thankful for. Whether it's the lessons learned, the strength gained, or the support you received from others. Gratitude is also a form of self-care. It's easy to become consumed with the demands of life, to be constantly striving for more, always looking ahead to the next goal, the next accomplishment. But when you take the time to pause and reflect on what you're thankful for, you honor your journey. You acknowledge how far you've come and the blessings you've experienced along the way. Gratitude helps you recognize the value of each moment, each encounter, and each step forward. It doesn't matter how small those steps might seem, because gratitude teaches us that everything, even the simplest of moments, is worthy of appreciation. And in that appreciation, we find peace. When we acknowledge what we have, rather than constantly focusing on what we lack, we open our hearts to the fullness of life as it is, right now. The act of giving thanks also nurtures a deeper connection with God. When we express gratitude, we're not just acknowledging the good things in our lives, but we're also recognizing that everything comes from Him. The air we breathe, the love we share, the strength we have, everything is a gift. Gratitude allows us to honor God for His provision, His guidance, and His presence in our lives. It's a way of aligning ourselves with His will and acknowledging His role in shaping our lives. When we practice gratitude, we create space for God to continue working in and through us. And we cultivate a deeper sense of peace, knowing that He is always with us, always guiding us, always providing. When we focus on gratitude, we also stop comparing ourselves to others. In a world that constantly encourages us to measure our success against others, gratitude helps us stop that cycle. We begin to realize that our journey is unique, our blessings are personal, and our worth is not determined by how we stack up next to someone else. Gratitude removes envy, jealousy, and dissatisfaction from the equation. It replaces those negative emotions with contentment and peace, because we stop looking outward and start looking inward, recognizing the beauty and abundance that already exists in our lives. The peace that comes with gratitude is not a fleeting peace, it's a lasting peace. It's a peace that comes from knowing that no matter what happens, you have enough. You have God's love, you have the gifts He's given you, and you have the strength to face each day with a heart full of gratitude. When you embrace gratitude, you create an internal foundation that no external circumstance can shake. God has created an internal foundation that no external circumstance can shake. You become unshakable, grounded in the peace that only comes from being thankful for all that is good, all that is holy, and all that is working in your life. So as you end your day, take a moment to reflect on the things you are grateful for, whether it's your health, your relationships, or the simple moments of joy you experience. Give thanks for them all. In doing so, you invite peace into your heart, and you begin to carry that peace with you into tomorrow. Gratitude at its core is a choice to focus on what's good, what's holy, and what's right. And in that choice, you find the true peace that the world cannot give. It's a peace that is always available to you, ready to fill your heart when you open yourself to the blessings of the present moment. And trusting God with tomorrow is one of the most powerful acts of faith you can engage in. It's easy to get caught up in the anxiety of what's to come, to worry about the uncertainties of the future, and to feel like you have to control every detail of your life in order for things to turn out right. We often hold on tightly to our plans, our schedules, and our expectations, thinking that if we just work hard enough, plan enough, or think enough, we can ensure that tomorrow will be exactly how we want it. But the reality is, there's so much about the future that's beyond our control. And that's where trust comes in. Trusting God with tomorrow means letting go of the need to have everything figured out. It means releasing the tight grip we often have on our plans and trusting that God knows what's best for us. We've all had those moments where we stay up late, tossing and turning, worrying about what's ahead, whether it's a big decision, an upcoming challenge, or the unknowns of life. But the truth is, worrying about tomorrow doesn't change anything. It only robs us of our peace and distracts us from the present moment. Trusting God with tomorrow allows us to let go of that worry, knowing that He is already ahead of us, preparing the way. When you trust God with tomorrow, you acknowledge that you are not in control of everything. You accept that there are factors outside of your influence, and that's okay. You don't have to have all the answers. In fact, it's in acknowledging your limitations that you open yourself up to God's infinite wisdom and guidance. Trusting God is a step of faith, a surrender of your own plans to embrace His perfect plan for your life. He sees the big picture in ways that we cannot. He knows the paths we're meant to walk, the lessons we're meant to learn, and the blessings He's preparing for us. When you trust Him, you trust that His timing is perfect, even if it doesn't align with your own timeline. Trusting God with tomorrow also means finding peace in the present moment. So often, we let the fear of what might happen overshadow the beauty of what is happening right now. We lose sight of the opportunities for growth and joy that exist today because we're so focused on what the future might hold. But God calls us to live in the moment, to trust that He will provide for us as we go along. So I say we don't need to know exactly how everything will unfold because we know that He is with us every step of the way. He promises that He will never leave us or forsake us, and that includes tomorrow. When you trust Him, you can live fully in the present, knowing that He will take care of your future. In moments of uncertainty, it can be hard to trust that everything will work out, especially when it feels like nothing is going according to plan. But this is where faith becomes essential. Trusting God with tomorrow doesn't mean that everything will go perfectly or according to our desires. It means that even when things don't turn out the way we expect, we trust that God is still in control. Even in the chaos, He is working all things for our good. And sometimes the road to the best future involves detours, delays, and even struggles. Trusting God means believing that even in the midst of those challenges, He is shaping us into who we need to be and leading us to where we need to go. Moreover, trusting God with tomorrow gives us the courage to take action today. When we know that God is guiding our steps, we can move forward with confidence. We don't have to be paralyzed by fear of the unknown because we trust that He will lead us exactly where we need to be. It doesn't mean that we won't face difficulties, but it means that we face them knowing that God is with us, providing strength, wisdom, and peace. When we trust God with tomorrow, we also trust that He will equip us with what we need to handle whatever comes our way. In the quiet moments before you go to sleep, surrender your worries about tomorrow to God. Let go of the weight of the future and place it in His hands. Trust that as you sleep, He is working on your behalf. He is already preparing tomorrow's path, even as you rest. And when you wake up, embrace the new day with a heart full of peace, knowing that you don't have to figure it all out. You don't have to control everything. All you have to do is trust. Trust that God is already ahead of you, guiding you, and that whatever tomorrow brings, He will be with you, strengthening you and making a way for you. When you trust God with tomorrow, you free yourself from the burdens of worry, and you invite His peace to rule your heart, knowing that He holds the future in His hands. So, as you lay your head down tonight, remember these 5 things. Reflect, pray, meditate, give thanks, and trust. Make space for God and allow Him to be the last thought on your mind before you close your eyes. Your peace starts here. Good night, and may you wake up tomorrow with a heart full of purpose and peace.